Jake Harrison stood on the bridge of the Earth defense ship Horizon. He watched the stars through the large window in front of him. The ship moved slowly through space near the outer colonies. Everything seemed peaceful and quiet. Captain Lisa Monroe sat in her command chair behind Jake. She had fought in many battles before. Her face showed the marks of years spent protecting human colonies from pirates and raiders. Today felt different, though. Something in the air made everyone nervous. "Any reports from the other ships?" Lisa asked. Carl Baker looked up from his navigation station. "All patrol ships are in position, Captain. Nothing unusual to report." Amy Foster worked at the communications desk. She listened to radio signals from nearby colonies. The colonists talked about normal things like farming and trade. Children played in the streets of New Boston Colony. Families ate dinner together on Mars Station. 7. Danny Torres checked the ship's engines from his engineering post. Everything ran smoothly. The fusion reactor hummed with steady power. All weapon systems showed green lights on his display. Jake felt uneasy, but could not explain why. He had served on patrol duty for 5 years. Usually these missions were boring. Ships flew in circles around colonies and nothing happened. Pirates stayed away from well-defended areas. "Contact!" Amy suddenly shouted. Her voice cut through the quiet bridge like a knife. Everyone turned to look at her. She pressed buttons on her console and listened carefully to her headphones. Her face went pale. "What is it?" Lisa asked. "I'm getting massive energy readings. Something big is coming through hyperspace." The main screen flickered to life. It showed a map of the local star system. Red dots appeared on the screen. More red dots. Then more. Soon the screen filled with hundreds of red warning signals. "Those readings are impossible," Carl said. He checked his instruments twice. The energy signatures are off the charts. Space itself seemed to tear open in front of them. Bright blue light poured through cracks in reality. The light grew brighter and brighter until everyone on the bridge had to shield their eyes. When the light faded, Jake could not believe what he saw. Hundreds of alien ships filled the space around them. Each ship was huge, much bigger than any human vessel. They looked like they were made of crystal and metal fused together. Blue energy pulsed along their hulls like a heartbeat. "By God," Lisa whispered. "How many are there?" "I count over 300 ships," Carl reported. His voice shook as he spoke. The alien ships moved in perfect formation. They spread out in a sphere around the human patrol fleet. Each alien vessel gleamed with strange technology. Their hulls seemed to bend light around them, making them hard to look at directly. "Captain Monroe," Amy called out. "I'm receiving a transmission. It's coming through our universal translator." "Put it on screen," Lisa ordered. The main display changed to show an alien face. The creature had pale blue skin and large black eyes. Its head was elongated, and it had no visible nose. When it spoke, its voice sounded like metal grinding against stone. "I am Fleet Commander Vexthai of the Zephyrian Hegemony. You humans have expanded into territory that belongs to us. This space has been ours for 10,000 years. Jake felt his heart racing. He had never seen an alien before. None of the human colonies had ever made contact with other intelligent species. Scientists always said aliens probably existed, but finding them was different from meeting them in battle. "You will surrender immediately," the alien commander continued. "Your ships will power down their weapons and engines. Your colonies will evacuate this system within 1 solar rotation. Failure to comply will result in your complete destruction." Lisa stood up from her chair. She straightened her uniform and walked closer to the screen. "This is Captain Lisa Monroe of the Earth Defense Force. These colonies are home to over 2 million human beings. We will not abandon them." The alien's large eyes seemed to grow even darker. "Your species is primitive. Your weapons are crude. Your ships are slow and weak. We have studied you for many months. You cannot resist the might of the Zephyrian hegemony." "We'll see about that," Lisa replied. The transmission ended. The screen went back to showing the tactical display. The alien ships continued to surround the small human fleet. Jake counted only 12 human vessels against more than 300 alien ones. All ships, battle stations. Lisa announced, over the fleet communication system. Prepare for possible combat. Red lights flashed throughout the horizon. The crew ran to their positions. Weapon systems powered up with a low humming sound. Energy shields activated around the ship. Jake watched the alien fleet through the window. Their ships were beautiful in a terrifying way. The crystal hulls reflected starlight in rainbow patterns. Energy flowed along channels carved into their surfaces. These beings had technology that seemed impossible. "Captain," Danny called from engineering. "Our weapons are ready, but I don't think they'll do much good. Those alien ships are reading power levels 20 times higher than our best battleships." "What about our shields?" Lisa asked. "Standard deflector shields are active, but honestly, I don't know if they'll stop alien weapons," Carl reported from navigation. "The alien fleet is moving into attack formation. They're positioning their largest ships in the center." Amy listened to communications from other human ships. "Captain, Admiral Clark is trying to coordinate our defense, but everyone knows we're outgunned." Jake thought about the colonists on the nearby worlds, children who played in parks, families who had traveled across the galaxy to build new lives, scientists working to understand the universe. All of them depended on this small fleet for protection. The alien ships began to glow brighter. Their hulls pulsed with increasing energy. Whatever weapons they carried were charging up for an attack. "This is it," Lisa said quietly. "Everyone prepare for battle. We might not win, but we'll make them pay for every inch." Jake gripped the railing in front of him. He had joined the defense force to protect people. Today, he might die trying to do exactly that. The alien fleet was enormous and powerful. Human technology seemed like stone tools compared to their advanced weapons. But humans had something the aliens might not expect. They never gave up. They fought for their families and their homes. Sometimes that made all the difference. The first battle between humans and aliens was about to begin. Jake hoped it would not be the last. Far from the battle that was about to begin, Dr. Rachel Stone sat in her laboratory on a hidden research station. The station floated in the dark space near Pluto, where no one would think to look for it. For 20 years, she had worked on projects that most people would call impossible. The emergency signal came through on her private communication system. Red lights flashed across her computer screens. The message was simple but terrifying. Alien invasion fleet detected. Immediate threat. To all human colonies. Rachel had been waiting for this day, though she hoped it would never come. She pressed a button on her desk and spoke into a microphone. "Ben Collins and Kate Wright, report to the main lab immediately. Code Black is now in effect." Within minutes, her two best scientists arrived. Ben was a physicist who understood things about space and time that made other experts confused. Kate was an engineer who could build weapons from theories that existed only in textbooks. "Is this real?" Ben asked as he read the emergency message. "As real as it gets," Rachel replied. "The Zephyrian hegemony has arrived with over 300 ships. Our patrol fleet is completely outmatched." Kate looked at the tactical display showing the alien fleet. "Those power readings are incredible. Their technology is centuries ahead of anything in our regular military, which is exactly why Project Omega exists," Rachel said. She led them to a secure room deep inside the station. The door required her handprint, voice recognition, and a code that changed every day. Inside the room, banks of computers lined the walls. Screens showed diagrams of weapons that looked like something from a science fiction movie. General Peter Hayes appeared on the main communication screen. He was calling from Earth Command, billions of miles away. His face looked grim, but determined. "Dr. Stone, are your systems ready for activation?" he asked. "We've been ready for 15 years, General. All quantum field generators are in position and operational." "What's our coverage area?" Ben pulled up a three-dimensional map of the solar system. Hundreds of small dots appeared throughout human space. Each dot marked a hidden weapons platform. "We have complete coverage from Mercury to the outer colonies," Ben reported. "Every major shipping route, every colony world, every strategic position has at least 3 generator platforms within range." The aliens had no idea what they were flying into. For decades, humanity had been preparing for exactly this situation. Every mining operation had hidden weapons. Every research station concealed military hardware. Every trade route was protected by invisible defenses. How did we keep this secret for so long? Kate wondered. General Hayes answered from Earth. Because we had to. If word got out that we were building superweapons, it would have caused panic. People would think we were preparing for war with our own colonies. Rachel remembered the early days of Project Omega. Scientists from around the world had worked together in secret. They studied theoretical physics that most universities said was impossible. They built prototypes that failed hundreds of times. Before they succeeded, the quantum disruption technology had started as a research project into faster-than-light communication. Scientists discovered that by creating small tears in space-time, they could send messages instantly across any distance. But the same technology that carried messages could also tear apart anything made of normal matter. The mining ships throughout the system are actually mobile weapons platforms, Rachel explained. The asteroid belt operation has 50 hidden generators. The Jupiter research stations have another 30. Even the weather monitoring satellites around Earth have quantum field projectors. Kate checked the power levels on her console. All generators are showing green status. We have enough stored energy for a full system activation. The beauty of the hidden network was its simplicity. Each generator looked like normal equipment. Mining ships needed large power sources to break apart asteroids. Research stations required strong energy shields to protect against radiation. Weather satellites used powerful transmitters to send data across space. But when connected together and activated at the same time, all of these innocent-looking devices became components of the most powerful weapon ever created. The quantum field generators could create space-time distortions that would tear apart any ship, no matter how advanced its technology. Dr. Stone, General Hayes said, I'm giving you full authorization to activate the network. The alien fleet has just demanded our complete surrender. Admiral Clark's ships are preparing for a hopeless battle. Rachel looked at her team. Ben and Kate had worked with her for years to perfect this technology. They had run thousands of simulations and tests. The weapon would work exactly as designed. What about the moral implications? Ben asked. We're talking about destroying an entire fleet instantly. Millions of alien lives. They came here to destroy our colonies, Kate replied. 2 million humans live in this system. Our children go to school on these worlds. Our families have built homes here. Rachel understood both viewpoints. The quantum weapons were incredibly destructive. Using them would mean killing many aliens very quickly. But the aliens had come to human space with overwhelming force. They demanded surrender and threatened to destroy human colonies if refused. The decision isn't ours to make, Rachel said. Our job is to protect humanity. The aliens made their choice when they brought a war fleet to our space. General Hayes nodded on the screen. Begin activation sequence. I'll coordinate with Admiral Clark to position our ships safely. Rachel sat down at the main control station. Her fingers moved across the keyboard, entering commands that would wake up the hidden network. All across the solar system, mining ships and research stations received new orders. The quantum field generators began their startup cycle. Energy flowed through conduits that had been disguised as normal ship systems. Space itself began to respond to the invisible forces building throughout the system. Generators are coming online, Ben reported. We'll be ready for activation in 10 minutes. Kate monitored the alien fleet through long-range sensors. The enemy ships are moving into attack formation. They're preparing to fire on our patrol fleet. They have no idea what's waiting for them, Rachel said quietly. For decades, humanity had appeared weak to any aliens watching from a distance. Human ships used simple fusion engines. Human weapons fired basic energy beams and kinetic projectiles. Human colonies seemed to have minimal defenses. But appearances could be very deceiving. While humanity built its visible civilization, it also constructed a hidden one. The secret network of quantum weapons was spread throughout human space, invisible and waiting. The aliens thought they were attacking a primitive species with crude technology. Instead, they were flying into a trap that had been 20 years. In the making. Activation sequence complete, Ben announced. All systems are ready. Then let's show them what happens when you threaten humanity, Rachel said. Fleet Commander Vexthai stood in the command center of his flagship. The massive ship's bridge was filled with blue crystal displays that showed the position of every vessel in his fleet. His officers worked quietly at their stations, confident. In their overwhelming superiority, the human fleet looked pathetic compared to Zephyrian technology. 12 small ships against over 300 advanced warships. Vexthai had studied human military capabilities for months before launching this invasion. Their weapons were primitive energy beams and simple projectiles. Their ships moved slowly through space using basic fusion engines. Weapons Officer Krelvek, prepare to fire a demonstration shot, Vexthai ordered. Target the human ship called Defiance. We will show them the futility of resistance. The weapons officer manipulated controls made of living crystal. The ship's main cannon began to charge with concentrated antimatter. The weapon had enough power to destroy a small moon. A single shot would vaporize any human vessel instantly. Antimatter cannon charged to 50% power, Fleet Commander. This should be sufficient to destroy the target and demonstrate our superiority. Vexthai felt satisfied. The humans would see one of their ships destroyed completely. Then they would understand that resistance was useless. The colonies would surrender without further bloodshed. The Zephyrian hegemony would reclaim this ancient territory peacefully. Fire, he commanded. The antimatter beam erupted from his flagship with brilliant blue light. The energy beam traveled across space at nearly the speed of light. It contained enough destructive force to crack a planet's surface. The beam struck exactly where the human ship Defiance should have been. Nothing happened. Vex quote. Tai stared at his displays in confusion. The antimatter beam had simply vanished. The human ship remained completely undamaged. Sensors showed the vessel was still intact, still powered, still operational. What happened to our shot? He demanded. Weapons Officer Krelvek checked his instruments repeatedly. Fleet Commander, the beam fired normally. All systems functioned correctly. The energy struck the target area precisely. Then why is the human ship still there? I cannot explain it, Fleet Commander. The antimatter should have destroyed their vessel instantly. Vexthai felt his first moment of doubt. In 10,000 years of conquest, Zephyrian weapons had never failed. Their antimatter cannons could penetrate any known shield technology. Their energy beams had destroyed the fleets of dozens of other species. Perhaps their shields are more advanced than we calculated, suggested Science Officer Thelzon. Some species have developed unusual defensive technologies. Impossible, Vexthai replied. We studied their capabilities extensively. Human shields are simple electromagnetic barriers. They cannot stop antimatter. But the evidence was clear. Somehow the human ship had survived a direct hit from their most powerful weapon. All ships prepare for full assault, Vexthai ordered. If one shot is insufficient, we will use the entire fleet. Charge all weapons to maximum power. Throughout the Zephyrian fleet, hundreds of warships prepared for battle. Antimatter cannons hummed with deadly energy. Gravitational torpedoes armed themselves for launch. Energy beam arrays focused their destructive power toward the human vessels. The alien fleet represented the most advanced military technology in the galaxy. Each ship carried enough firepower to destroy a city. Together they could reduce entire worlds to burning rubble in minutes. All weapons ready, Fleet Commander, reported Krelvek. Fire everything, Vexthai commanded. Show these primitive humans the true might of the Zephyrian hegemony. The space between the two fleets filled with deadly energy. Hundreds of antimatter beams streaked toward the human ships. Gravitational torpedoes twisted space-time as they flew. Plasma cannons sent streams of superheated gas across the void. The combined firepower was spectacular and terrifying. Any planet caught in this barrage would be reduced to cosmic dust. The energy output exceeded the power of most stars. Every single shot vanished harmlessly. The human ships remained exactly where they had been. Not one vessel showed any damage. Not one shield flickered or failed. The entire devastating attack had accomplished absolutely nothing. Vex Tai could not believe what his sensors were telling him. The most powerful weapons in the galaxy had been fired at primitive human ships. All of them had simply disappeared into empty space. "This is impossible," he whispered. "Our weapons cannot fail. The laws of physics do not allow this." Science Officer Thelzan studied the sensor readings. With growing amazement, "Fleet Commander, I am detecting no evidence that our weapons struck anything. It appears they were absorbed or redirected somehow." "Absorbed? By what? There is nothing between our fleet and theirs except empty space." "I cannot determine the mechanism, Fleet Commander, but the energy readings suggest the presence of some kind of field that we cannot detect with our sensors." Vexathai felt fear for the first time in his long military career. The Zephyrian hegemony had conquered half the galaxy through superior technology and overwhelming firepower. No enemy had ever been able to stop their weapons completely. "Perhaps the humans have allies," suggested Navigation Officer Quarteth. "Another species may be protecting them with advanced technology." "Our long-range sensors detect no other ships in this system," Thelzan replied. "If allies are present, they are somehow invisible to all of our detection methods." The fleet commander studied the tactical display. His 300 ships surrounded the 12 human vessels in a perfect attack formation, but somehow the humans were completely protected by defenses that his science officer could not even detect. "Try a different approach," Vexthai ordered. "Close to combat range. Perhaps their defensive field has limited coverage." The alien fleet began to move closer to the human ships. The massive crystalline vessels accelerated smoothly through space, their energy fields pulsing with increasing intensity. As they closed the distance, Vexthai noticed something strange on his sensors. Energy readings were appearing all around his fleet. At first they were faint and scattered, but as his ships moved deeper into the system, the energy signatures grew stronger and more numerous. "Fleet Commander," Thelzan called out with alarm in his voice, "I am detecting massive energy sources throughout this system. They were not there when we arrived." "What kind of energy sources?" "Unknown technology. The power levels are extraordinary. It appears we are surrounded by some kind of weapons network." Vexthai looked at his displays with growing horror. What had seemed like empty space around his fleet was suddenly filled with energy contacts. Hundreds of them, all targeting his ships. "How is this possible?" "Our sensors showed this system was lightly defended. The energy sources appear to have been hidden somehow. They are becoming visible now, but I cannot determine how they remained undetected." For the first time in Zephyrian history, a fleet commander realized he had led his forces into a trap. The humans had not been helpless. They had been waiting. "All ships prepare for defensive maneuvers," Vexthai ordered. But even as he spoke, he knew it was too late. The hunt had become the hunted. General Peter Hayes watched the battle from Earth Command Center deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. Dozens of screens showed him everything happening in the outer system. The alien fleet had just fired their full weapons at the human patrol ships and accomplished nothing. "Dr. Stone, are you seeing this?" he asked through the communication link. Rachel Quotes' voice came through clearly from her hidden station. "Yes, General. The quantum field network is working perfectly. All enemy weapons are being absorbed and redirected into hyperspace." "Outstanding. Admiral Clark, are your ships ready for the next phase?" Admiral Ryan Clark appeared on another screen. He was aboard the command ship Liberty, surrounded by his small fleet of patrol vessels. "All ships are in position and ready to implement the plan." Hayes had been preparing for this moment for 20 years. As director of Earth's Shadow Defense Initiative, he had overseen the construction of the most powerful weapons network in human history. The aliens had no idea what they had flown into. "Begin revelation sequence," Hayes ordered. Throughout the solar system, hidden weapons platforms received the activation signal. Mining ships that had been disguised as civilian vessels powered up their true systems. Research stations revealed weapons that had been concealed for decades. Even small monitoring satellites unfolded weapon arrays that had been hidden in their cores. Jake Harrison stood on the bridge of the horizon, watching his tactical display with amazement. New contacts were appearing everywhere around the alien fleet. First dozens, then hundreds of energy signatures became visible on his sensors. "Captain Monroe," he called out. "You need to see this." Lisa Monroe looked at the display and could hardly believe what she saw. The space around the alien fleet was filled with weapons platforms. They had been there all along, invisible and waiting. "How is this possible?" she whispered. Amy Foster received a priority transmission at her communication station. "Captain, I'm getting a message from Earth Command. General Hayes wants to speak with all ship commanders." The main screen changed to show General Hayes in his command center. His face was calm and confident, very different from the desperate situation they had faced moments before. "Admiral Clark, Captain Monroe, and all fleet commanders," Hayes began. "What you are witnessing is Project Omega, humanity's ultimate defense against superior alien forces. For 20 years, we have been building a hidden weapons network throughout human space." Carl Baker checked his navigation sensors. "Captain, I'm counting over 400 weapons platforms. They were completely invisible until now." "The quantum field generators have two functions," Hayes continued. "First, they create defensive barriers that can absorb and redirect any known weapon. Second, they can generate offensive quantum disruption fields that tear apart the atomic structure of any target." Danny Torres studied the energy readings from his engineering station. "The power levels are incredible. These weapons are more advanced than anything in our regular military." Hayes explained the secret that had been hidden for decades. Every mining operation, every research station, every civilian installation has been part of this network. We knew that someday humanity would face an enemy with superior technology. We prepared accordingly. Fleet Commander Vex Thai realized his tactical situation had changed completely. His sensors now showed his fleet surrounded by hundreds of human weapons. The energy readings from each platform exceeded anything in Zephyrian technology. "This cannot be possible," he said to his science officer. "Our intelligence showed primitive human technology, simple fusion weapons and electromagnetic shields." "The humans have been deceiving us," Thelzon replied. "Their real military capability is far beyond what they displayed publicly." Vexathai understood that he had been outmaneuvered completely. The human colonies had appeared defenseless, protected only by a small patrol fleet. In reality, the entire system was one enormous weapons network waiting to be activated. Dr. Rachel Stone, prepared to demonstrate the true power of human technology. Her team had worked for years to perfect the quantum disruption system. Now they would show the aliens why attacking humanity was a fatal mistake. "General Hayes," she reported. "All quantum field generators are fully charged and ready for offensive mode." "Dr. Stone," Hayes replied, "you are authorized to activate the quantum disruption network. Full power." Rachel turned to her team. Ben Collins and Kate Wright had helped design and build these weapons. They understood better than anyone how devastating the quantum fields could be. "Are we really going to do this?" Ben asked quietly. "They brought a war fleet to destroy our colonies," Kate answered. "They fired first with intent to kill millions of humans. We're defending our families." Rachel placed her hand on the activation control. The quantum field generators threw out. The system awaited her command. With the press of a button, she could eliminate the entire alien fleet instantly. "Beginning quantum disruption sequence," she announced. The hidden weapons platforms began to change their energy output. Instead of creating defensive barriers, they started generating offensive quantum fields. Space itself began to ripple and distort around each alien ship. Vex quote. Tai watched his instruments with growing terror. His ship's hulls were beginning to vibrate strangely. The crystal matrix that formed their armor was resonating with frequencies that should not exist in normal spacetime. "Fleet Commander," his science officer called out with panic in his voice. "The quantum fields are disrupting our atomic structure. Our ships are beginning to come apart at the molecular level." "All ships emergency retreat," Vexthai ordered. "Jump to hyperspace immediately." But it was too late. The quantum disruption fields had already locked onto every alien vessel. The crystalline hulls that had seemed indestructible were breaking down as their atomic bonds dissolved. Jake Harrison, watched through the window of the horizon as the alien fleet began to disintegrate. The beautiful crystal ships that had appeared so advanced and threatening were simply falling apart. Their hulls turned to dust and scattered into space. "My God," Lisa Monroe said softly. "They're all being destroyed." The quantum fields worked, faster than any conventional weapon. They did not explode ships or burn them with energy beams. Instead, they made the ships stop existing. The matter that formed the alien vessels was being converted back into basic atomic particles. In less than 10 seconds, the entire Zephyrian fleet was gone. Over 300 advanced warships had been reduced to scattered atoms drifting through space. Millions of alien lives had ended instantly and painlessly. The space that had been filled with a mighty invasion force now contained only empty void and cosmic dust. The threat to humanity had been eliminated completely. "All weapons platforms, power down and resume concealment," General Hayes ordered. "Return to normal operations." The hidden network began to shut down its quantum fields. Mining ships went back to breaking apart asteroids. Research stations resumed their scientific work. Weather satellites continued monitoring planetary conditions. Within minutes, the weapons network had become invisible again. Any observers would see only normal civilian installations going about their daily business. The most powerful military demonstration in galactic history was over. Silence filled the bridge of the horizon. Jake Harrison stared at his sensor display, but it showed only empty space where moments before hundreds of alien ships had threatened all human life in the system. The tactical screen that had been filled with red enemy contacts now displayed nothing but the familiar dots of human patrol vessels. Captain Lisa Monroe sat down heavily in her command chair. She had been prepared to fight a hopeless battle against overwhelming odds. Instead, she had witnessed the most decisive military victory in human history. Her mind struggled to process what had just happened. "Captain," Amy Foster called from communications. "I'm receiving messages from all the colonies. They want to know if the threat is over." Lisa looked around her bridge crew. Carl Baker was still checking his navigation sensors, as if he could not believe the alien fleet had simply vanished. Danny Torres ran diagnostics on all ship systems, making sure the quantum fields had not damaged their own vessel. "Tell the colonies they can stand down from emergency status," Lisa ordered. "The alien threat has been eliminated." At his hidden research station, Dr. Rachel Stone began the careful process of shutting down the quantum field network. The weapons had performed exactly as designed, but using them required enormous amounts of energy. Power systems throughout the solar system would need time to recharge. "How much energy did we just consume?" Kate Wright asked. Ben Collins checked his calculations twice before answering. The total power expenditure was equivalent to Earth's entire energy production for about 6 months. "Good thing we've been storing power in the quantum batteries for 20 years. Rachel felt a mixture of satisfaction and sadness. The weapons had saved millions of human lives, but they had also ended millions of alien lives in an instant. She hoped this demonstration would prevent future conflicts, but she knew the galaxy would never be the same. General Peter Hayes addressed the fleet commanders from Earth Command. His image appeared on screens throughout the human patrol fleet. Behind him, staff officers worked quietly at their stations, monitoring the aftermath of humanity's first major alien contact. "Ladies and gentlemen," Hayes began, "what happened here today will change everything. For centuries we have wondered if we were alone in the universe. Now we know we are not. We also know that some alien species view us as a threat to be eliminated." Jake listened carefully as the general explained the new reality. Humanity was no longer an isolated species wondering about life among the stars. They had made contact with aliens in the most dramatic way possible. The Zephyrian hegemony came here to destroy our colonies and claim our space as their own, Hayes continued. They brought overwhelming military force and demanded our immediate surrender. Their mistake was assuming that our visible military capabilities represented our true strength. Admiral Ryan Clark appeared on another communication channel from his command ship. "General Hayes, what can you tell us about other alien species? Are we going to face more invasions?" "Our long-range monitoring stations have been detecting alien communications for years," Hayes replied. At least 12 different species were watching this confrontation. They now know that attacking humanity carries consequences that even advanced civilizations cannot survive. Captain Helen Price, commander of the ship Defiance that had been targeted in the aliens' first attack, joined the conversation. "Sir, how long has the government known about alien civilizations?" "We've suspected their existence for decades," Hayes answered honestly. "But this was our first direct contact. We built Project Omega as a deterrent against any species that might view humanity as weak or primitive. On colonies throughout the system, families emerged from emergency shelters. Children who had been rushed to safety by their parents now played in the streets again. The alien invasion that had threatened to destroy their homes was over before most colonists even knew it had begun. Dr. Stone received reports from all the hidden weapons platforms. The quantum field generators were powering down normally. Within hours, they would once again be indistinguishable from normal mining equipment and research stations. "The beauty of this system," she explained to her team, "is that it looks completely innocent when not activated. Any species studying our technology will see only civilian installations." Kate Wright monitored communications from various alien sources. "Dr. Stone, I'm picking up transmissions from at least 6 different alien civilizations. They're all requesting diplomatic contact with Earth." "Fear is a powerful motivator," Ben Collins observed. "They probably want to make sure they don't accidentally anger us." The news of humanity's victory spread rapidly through the galaxy via faster-than-light communication networks that connected various alien civilizations. Species that had never heard of humans before were suddenly very interested in opening peaceful relations. Jake Harrison realized that everything had changed for humanity. They were no longer the new species trying to establish themselves among the stars. In one decisive moment, they had become one of the most feared civilizations in the galaxy. "Captain Monroe," he said, "do you think there will be more attacks?" Lisa considered the question carefully. "I doubt it. Any species considering aggression against us now knows what happened to the Zephyrians. Most aliens are probably too smart to make the same mistake." General Hayes concluded his briefing to the fleet commanders. "We will continue normal patrol operations, but the strategic situation has changed completely. Humanity is no longer hiding our defensive capabilities. The galaxy knows we possess weapons that can destroy any fleet instantly." Dr. Rachel Stone sealed the quantum weapons data in the most secure files on her station. The technology would remain available if needed again, but she hoped it would serve mainly as a deterrent. The demonstration of power had been necessary, but she preferred that such weapons never be used again. "Will we tell the public about Project Omega?" Kate asked. "Eventually," Rachel replied, "but for now the less people know about the details, the better. The important thing is that our colonies are safe." As the human patrol fleet resumed normal operations, the galaxy settled into a new balance of power. Species that had planned to expand into human territory quietly changed their plans. Civilizations that had viewed humanity as primitive began requesting trade agreements and diplomatic exchanges. The alien fleet had struck first, confident in their technological superiority and overwhelming numbers. They had demanded humanity's surrender and threatened to destroy millions of innocent people. Their aggression had revealed humanity's true strength and cost them everything. In the end, the Zephyrian hegemony's attempt to demonstrate their power had accomplished the exact opposite. They had awakened a sleeping giant and shown the galaxy that appearances could be very deceiving. Humanity's age of vulnerability was over. The age of human strength had begun, and every species in the galaxy now understood a simple truth. Those who strike first against humanity do so at their own peril. The stars belonged to everyone, but threatening human families would always carry the ultimate price.